What in tarnation?
Hello folks, this is Apple Geek, and we are here. It is the Season 7 finale, finally, and I am spoiler-free. I've avoided everything. No synopses, no titles, no screenshots, no anything. The lockdown was successful. It has been miserable, but it was worth it. Alright? Now, interesting thing about when exactly I'm watching this here. As you know, there's some leaks of these episodes, and it's rather fitting on the day that I'm watching this here. And just to prove this, okay, Google, what's today's date?
It is Tuesday, the 10th of October, 2017.
October 10th, 2017. This is the 7th anniversary of the MLP Gen 4 launch, the Friendship is Magic launch. And I'm watching the 7th anniversary, and I'm about to watch the 7th season finale. How did that happen? I don't know, but yeah, the stars have aligned here, apparently, and potentially literally. Yeah, as we saw in the last episode, at the end of the last episode, Sunburst managed to acquire, unknowingly, an old book, a journal or something, spellbook from Star Swirl the Bearded. That was definitely his cutie mark on the cover of that book. I confirmed that later. So, yeah, and also the numerous references to Old Ponish in that episode after already having mentioned it in two previous episodes this season. The mentions of the legends, you know, the Mighty Helm mapping out Equestria. Yeah, this finale has to have something to do with the legends. That much is obvious. But are they actually going to go so far as to allow us to see Star Swirl? If they don't at this point, I'm going to be very surprised. I mean, they've been very hesitant to go there, but it seems pretty obvious that's where this is headed. Whether or not it's going to be live and in person or in a flashback, that much is unclear as of yet. All the other legends were just in flashbacks, so we'll have to see. Going along those lines, you know, are just thinking of stuff in the season. Are we still going to see Chrysalis come back again somehow? Is she going to be involved in this to some fashion, or the changelings in general? I don't know. It seems odd if they'd leave that one hanging, but I'm assuming nothing for the most part at this point, because the way that they are writing the season has really been a notch up. They left us on a cliffhanger at the end of last season, and now they've done something unprecedented, which is giving us a cliffhanger bombshell lead up into the finale here. So I think all bets are off at this point. I have no idea what is in store for us here. All I know is this is going to be probably one of the most exciting season finales that we've had yet. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to get this rolling and just enjoy whatever they decide to throw at us. So, here we go. Season 7 finale, part 1, starting now.
The best elements within us can spread light.
Is that his voice right away?
And I know ponies who represent them all. Strength, bravery, healing, beauty, hope, and sorcery. Myself and these pillars of Equestria were gathered together by another to maintain and share the light of these powerful ideals. But we soon came to believe the pony who brought us together only wanted that power for himself. Cast out and alone, this power-mad pony turned to darkness to satisfy his thirst.
Who is that?
Transformed into a pony of shadows, he returned.
Is that Sombra?
To extinguish the pillar's light and rob the world.
Is that Sombra?
To stop him, the pillars and I must make a grave sacrifice. But we shall leave behind a seed, in hopes that one day it will grow into a force to stand against the darkness for all time. We must now face the fiend with the only plan we have.
I only hope...
What?
That's the last entry. And maybe Star Swirl's final words before he vanished.
What? Is that the Tree of Harmony? Oh. Okay. Mind blown. Mind completely blown. Where are we going to go with this? And who is this? Is this for somebody else?
I've always wondered what happened to Star Swirl. This is quite a discovery, Sunburst.
So, it's genuine? You can verify
He got
that
lucky.
this journal really belongs to
Shadow
Star
play
Swirl
part
the
one.
Bearded?
Indeed. From the looks of it, the last thing he wrote
Yeah,
before
Twilight's on
facing the
Cloud9.
Pony of Shadows.
So, the Pony of Shadows was really real?
Or so. We never met the other pillars
Oh my.
to understand the danger they faced.
Hold on a second now. All those legendary ponies were real too? And they went off with Star Swirl to face the Pony of
Apparently.
Shadows? And then none of them were ever heard from again?
Yeah. Weren't you listening? But what happened to them all?
They must
bet
have
we're about to
defeated
find out.
Villain, since Equestria is still full of light and hope. But how? And where did they go? My old Ponish is a bit rusty.
Oh, Ponish again.
I wonder if the answers can be found somewhere within the pages of this book.
Well, I just happen to be an expert in Old Ponish. I mean, I've practically memorized every ancient text about Star Swirl there is.
Seriously.
Why am I not surprised?
We have fond memories of our old teacher. If you could discover what happened to him, we would be most grateful.
Solving a thousands-year-old mystery could take forever. Think of the research, the rereading, the re-rereading.
You might find you need help.
It's Twilight 2.0.
Luckily, she's got a whole bushel of helpers right here. Totally. How long will all this research take exactly?
Let's
Long.
get this back to my
Very
lab.
long.
I'm sure we'll figure out what happened in no time.
Weeks later, months later.
Figure it out yet, Twilight?
And nope.
What did you figure out?
Nothing.
Something out?
She stuck a cupcake in her eye.
What is it? Nothing. I mean, Star Swirl was a genius, obviously. But forget Old Ponish. There's parts where his horn writing is like another language. Oh.
Twilight, we've been studying
Nice.
and referencing
Horn
and
writing.
cross-referencing for 3 days straight now.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't spent this much time reading since the last Daring Do book came out.
Perhaps it is time to take a break.
That was
This
probably a little
mystery
more
is
exciting.
over 1,000 years old after all. Another day or two won't make a difference.
Hey, Starlight.
2 days? I don't want to waste 2 seconds. I'm close to an answer. I can feel it.
Herg Silphum se Ponehenge. What's that?
Temple of Ponehenge. You can read that?
The horn
Of course she
pretty
can.
sloppy, but it's nowhere near as bad as mine. Tawar dul Grimlik of Fola Firgenborg?
At the base of Full Mountain.
Usur Endemest Shield.
Our last stand.
Oh.
Well, that sure sounds like a
Spike.
clue to me.
So where is this mountain? Okay, well, they found it.
This is it. Ponehenge. I can't believe it.
Where is this place?
I've never
Runes.
seen magical runes like these before.
Runic magic.
Have you?
Confirmed.
I don't think any pony's seen any of this for a long time.
How did you find it so easy? Dash.
It'd take a whole team of ponies to clear away all this brush.
Aren't you a team?
Even then, I'm not sure we'd find out what happened here over 1,000 years ago.
Something tells me somebody's got a spell for that.
I suppose it was a long shot.
Cheer up, Twilight. Finding a whole set of ancient ruins is pretty impressive. Or maybe you could write a paper on it.
I guess I hoped we'd get here and the mystery would just magically be explained.
It's never that easy.
Twilight?
Remember when I said it's never that easy? Never mind. Is that? Oh!
Star Swirl? I've wanted to meet you my whole life. I can't believe you're here.
It's just an image. It's not. It's a recording.
I don't
It's
think
not actually
he is
him.
here. I don't think any of them are.
Oh. Oh. What is? Okay.
You summon me at your peril, Star Swirl. Once I defeat all of you, this realm will embrace the darkness, as I did so long ago.
Ugh.
Drawing me here
is he
will
gonna
make
do?
me stronger. You will never defeat me.
We did not come here to defeat you.
Okay. What we oh. What?
What are you doing?
We came to contain you.
What? Oh. Their spirits are in those enchanted items or something?
Magical explanation.
We're not even halfway through the first part of this. Where's this going?
What just happened?
Yes, thank you.
Looked like Star Swirl cast a spell that banished the Pony of Shadows.
Of course. Powerful magic like that would leave an impression on this place. Bringing the book back here let us see what happened.
Which was what?
Star Swirl and the rest of the pillars sacrificed themselves to save Equestria.
It's amazing to think one of the greatest mysteries of Equestria was solved with a musty old
There's-
book from an antique
There's
shop.
more to. They're still alive, aren't they?
Say
They're
the
still
mystery
alive.
solved. Star Swirl's spell was one of the most powerful feats of magic in all of history. It'll take years of study before we fully understand it.
I think I understand Star Swirl's spell.
Of course you
I
do.
know I finished one of Star Swirl's spells before, but this one was on a whole different level. Was it an explosion of magical feedback? An evocation? A kind of incantation?
Bigger than one that
Star
turns into an
Swirl's
alicorn?
possibilities are endless. And once Starlight set me on the right track with his crazy horn riding, I mean, he was a genius.
That
so
snort
I guess
again.
A little messiness. I went through the journal again, and it's amazing.
Twilight, darling. We understand you're excited, but that's all we understand.
What
Yeah.
exactly is so amazing?
Only how
Yes.
Star Swirl and the other pillars sent the Pony of Shadows to Limbo.
They did
Lim-
what now?
They used their magic to open a portal between worlds.
Nice
to
model.
Limbo, and pulled the Pony of Shadows inside.
Darling, a diorama!
I made more. Star Swirl thought the only way to trap the Pony of Shadows in Limbo was for the pillars to take him there.
So they got stuck too.
The Pony of
They're
Shadows
still
is
alive.
really hard to do that. I suppose being trapped for all time with a super duper bad guy in Limbo.
I never saw
made
this
you think
coming.
You were doing the Limbo? But that's still pushing it.
The thing
Thanks,
is,
Mickey.
I think I can get them out.
Not without the Pony of Shadows.
You can save the most legendary ponies of all time?
Opening portals between worlds didn't work out well for me. Are you sure it's safe?
Yeah,
First
that.
of all, you opened portals through time. And second of all, Star
True.
Swirl wrote the spell you used to do it. If he'd been here,
True.
he could have stopped it. Equestria would be safer with him in it. We have to save him.
But you'd be saving all the pillars, right? And they disappeared ages ago.
They'd be
That's
ponies
the thing about Limbo.
ponies at a time.
It isn't one place or another. It's in between. So time stands still. If we can pull them out, it'll be like they never left. I actually built another model to demonstrate.
What can we do to help?
If I'm right, we need to find items that are connected to the pillars in some way.
And they've already got the.
Like
Fluttershy
stuff
had the
that
mask.
belonged to them?
How would we know what to look for? Or where?
Luckily, Star Swirl took a lot of notes. My compatriots are as varied as the realm itself and hail from every corner of our land, bringing with them artifacts and talismans of great power.
Twilight?
What is going
I'm
on?
not doing anything.
Rockhoof shovel.
Flash Magic!
Is this the map doing this?
Miss Maine's flower!
blindfold. Okay, okay.
I guess we don't need to figure out who should get what.
Just go back. Oh.
Professor, it's a mighty helm headpiece.
Oh,
Maybe it belonged to
Petunia. What's her name? Yeah.
Legends don't wear helmets. This belonged to a real pony.
Oh, I can
Oh, he's
guarantee
real.
Rock Hook was as real as you and me.
And I
Petunia
suppose
Paleo, I
that
think?
Ravine was dug with his trusty shovel to save the village from an erupting volcano.
Yep.
Probably.
I love old legends as much as any pony, but a pony strong enough to save a village from rushing lava with a shovel is preposterous.
Oh, really now? What the? Oh!
I can't believe you just did that. You saved us.
I bet if you told some pony else the story, it might sound...
I know she was strong, but dang! Oh, that uncovered a...
I suppose some stories might be true.
Oh, wow.
This appears to be one of them.
But they're gonna release the Pony of Shadows by doing this, and that's not gonna be good. Wait, are we gonna end up with
You keep
those elements
wolves
plus
to
the new
yourself,
elements?
dearie. This place has been in my family for generations.
Well, hi, Granny Smith Recolor.
I'm not about to let some whippersnapper take the last good piece of it.
I'm pretty sure that's Tabitha,
Wolves
too.
Came from far and wide to see these gardens, but that flower's the only worthwhile thing left.
Leave it to Rarity. Wow. Alrighty then.
It just seemed like your gardens were worthless, but a little pruning can work wonders. Of course, you will have to look after more than just one flower.
Wow.
You've given me back my family's legacy. The flower you wanted seems like a fair trade for that.
Aww. That was rather quick, but sure, that was awesome.
Agnes's shield ended up in the Dragonlands. Good thing you brought the official equestrian friendship ambassador to the dragons to help you navigate our customs. Like our favorite sport, gorge surfing!
Oh, wow. Some new dragons here.
Was awesome! Dragon Lord Ember commanded us to make peace with ponies, but it doesn't mean you can surf in our spot.
Is that Kathy?
Whoa, fellas! As the official equestrian friendship ambassador to the dragons, I have to say that's not very friendly.
Well, what do you know?
Oh, Garble!
Pony dragon sticking up for his pony.
And he's got the shield.
Hey! That's an ancient pony artifact!
Hooves off my gorge board! I found it in the desert, and finders keepers.
It isn't
Race you for it.
yours.
Huh, it sure looks like mine, but I might consider racing you for it.
Called it.
No problem.
No. I mean, you.
Whoa. Oh. Is he gonna embarrass Garble again? Come on, Spike, you got this.
On your marks, get set, set!
Go for it, Spike! Ooh, ooh, yeah.
I won.
Nailed it!
Give up the shield, Garble.
Lord Ember only commanded us to be nice to ponies. She never said anything about pony loving.
Is Ember right behind him?
Since Dragon Lord Ember commanded you to make peace with ponies, you can't very well attack one of their friends, can you?
Oh, he's gonna try.
I guess we'll find out.
Oh, nice save.
My Why is he always hiding behind ponies?
I was when I beat you down the ridge.
You fell.
Wow. You must
Technicality.
be slow if all Spike had to do to win was fall down.
I'm faster than you.
Doubt it.
Fine. I'll race you back to the top. If
You're gonna
win,
lose again,
then
buddy.
pony jump. But if I win, you'll leave and I get to give it to him.
Fine. I'm pretty sure I could beat you anyway, but with that heavy hunk of metal on your back, it'll be a snap.
Huh? Oh yeah. Thanks for the tip.
And she's getting... Not anymore!
See? Because that's what you said to them when they first showed up.
You just can't catch a break. Hey! He's still playing with those bees,
Get
huh?
away from them, Cattail. Flash bees can get pretty aggressive. I guess that's why none of the other bayou animals can get to the water.
Aww.
Wouldn't it make more sense for you to wear the mask that calms the bees?
It would. If I didn't have to fly up here to move their hive.
At some point.
There.
Huh.
Now the other bayou creatures can get to the water without the bees feeling threatened.
A nice little conclusion to
You
that story
didn't
there.
have to help with this. I would have lent you the mask anyway.
I know. But I couldn't leave without helping.
Aww.
I don't think any pony can find anything in there.
I wouldn't give up hope just yet.
32 again! Oh my word! What is that stuff anyway?
This old blindfold was stuck in the drain.
Okay, apparently it wasn't acid, then it was just
Star Swirl the Bearded.
going go.
Outside of
Whatever.
my dreams, I can't believe you're actually going through with it. What do you mean? I'm all for pushing the envelope, obviously, but this is pretty out there for you, Twilight.
Yes, playing with
about
fire.
saving the most legendary ponies of all time from a thousands-year-old prison.
Well, nothing.
Kind of hard to pass up.
Unless the most legendary ponies of all time knew what they were doing, and we shouldn't mess with it.
I'm sure Star
Excellent
Swirl
point.
and the Pillars did the best they could back then, but magic has come a long way, mostly because of the work they did.
That's true, and
Very
you
true.
did get your wings from finishing one of Star Swirl's spells. Exactly. But then I messed with
Continuity.
one and nearly destroyed the universe, so... Starlight, Star Swirl the Bearded is the greatest wizard who ever lived. The chance to have
Is another
him
pony
back
gonna end up with
Equestria
wings
is
before this is
worth the
done?
risk.
That's good news.
Otherwise, we'd have brought this shield for nothing. I hope you don't think you're the only one to find her artifact, because this here shovel says otherwise.
Oh,
Nice.
You two. Not everything is a competition, but Miss Maine's flower.
Yeah, just try and convince
by
him of
far
that.
The most attractive of the artifacts.
You're just
I'll
saying
give you
that
that.
because you didn't have to scuba dive in a pit of green slime to get yours.
Or move a flash bee hive.
Good work, everyone. Let's do this.
Okay. Kind of interesting that Twilight's the one taking the risk and Starlight's the voice of reason. Yes! Yes! Yes!
What? What has happened?
It worked.
But where's the pony shadows?
To where?
You and the others have been trapped in limbo for over 1,000 years, but I figured out how to get you home.
What? No, 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 no! You must undo what you've done!
Yep.
Why? I mean, I don't think I can.
You cannot bring us back!
But I did. I brought all the pillars back.
You cannot bring only the pillars back!
Exactly! Oh boy, oh boy. Oh no! Okay. not even going to bother looking at voice credits now. I just need to go on to the next episode, like, immediately, if not sooner. But, I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless right now. So, this is epic. Okay, I'll say one thing. Like I called out earlier, are we headed to a showdown with the Pony of Shadows with these old pillars and also the elements of... Are we going to see the elements of harmony come back into this again or something? As it is something crazy going to happen with... I don't know. No more speculation. I'm just rambling here. All right, episode 26, part 2. Get this shrunk down here. All right. Starting now.
That's the last entry. Star Swirl's final words before he vanished.
All those legendary ponies were real too, and then none of them were ever heard from again?
They used their magic to open a portal to Limbo. We need to find items that are connected to the pillars in some way. We brought you back!
Mm-hmm.
You cannot bring only the pillars back!
Yep. So I do have to ask, the Pony of Shadows we saw at the end of... What episode was that? Was that Castlemania? Or whatever that episode was. I mean, he was sealed away, so... Was there any connection between that and this, or was that just a thing to forget about? Or I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Here we go. Final stretch.
Your pitiful attempt to imprison me has failed, Star Swirl.
Well, not really. Twilight...
You must return us to Limbo. It's the only way to stop it.
He's out of power.
We figured out how to bring you back.
Working on it. No table of contents.
Allow me to assist.
Oh, no. Oh! No!
There!
No!
Without the power of Bonehenge, your banishing spell is useless.
You have studied my writing. Surely you have some other plan.
No, I just wanted to
Nope.
save you. I didn't think...
Don't fret. When I
Yeah, you
extinguish
didn't
the
think.
light and hope of this miserable world, you won't remember any of this.
Ooh.
This one is almost as strong as you, Star Swirl. But even in my weakened state, she cannot stop the might of shadows.
Well, we have a confirmed power level.
Lucky for her, she's not alone.
Yes! Yes!
Know this, fiend. We will not rest until we find a way to return you to Limbo.
Very true.
Never! Your days of glory are through, Star Swirl. Now my dark power will reign, and you six will bow to me!
Don't you mean 12 or actually 14 now?
Where'd he go?
That is the
Somewhere.
riddle we must unravel, and quickly.
How long?
That voice!
Gone?
Over 1,000 years.
We never heard her voice before.
Then my spell worked. Before it was meddled with.
Oh!
And the realm has been at peace for millennia.
We did have to save everybody from Nightmare Moon and Discord and Chrysalis and King Stormbra and Lord T-Rex, and there was that one time when Starlight traveled through time and almost destroyed life as we know it. It's all in the past.
If you were truly this accomplished, we will stop the Pony of
Nice
Shadows
recap.
twice as fast together.
We shall see. It is an easy thing to say you have saved the world. It is quite another to do it.
True.
Oh, we've saved the world, Beardo. And we can do it again.
Oh, no, you
Be that
did.
as it may, the problem of locating the Pony of Shadows remains, and this land is vast.
It sounds like you need a map. Luckily, we have just the thing.
Yep, they've got the best map in all of Equestria.
Something about this magic seems familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's connected to the...
Sure he can do that? He's Star Swirl. He can do anything.
This map, and indeed this very castle, are grown from the seed we planted over 1,000 years ago.
Well, it did work.
Each of us infused a crystal seed with our magic in hopes that it would grow into a force for good.
We wanted to leave something to protect the realm in our absence, but we never dreamed our gift would become so powerful.
Y'all mean the elements came from you?
You know, the sparkly crystal things that grow from the tree of harmony and represent each of us? Laughter, honesty, generosity, loyalty, kindness, and magic.
They are reflections of our own elements of hope, strength, beauty, bravery, healing, and sorcery.
We had no idea our small seed would bloom into the living spirit of the land. I am glad our mantles have passed to such capable ponies.
More importantly, we no longer need Ponehenge to send our foe back to Limbo. We can use the stored magic in this tree of harmony.
But doesn't a banishing spell take a lot of power? We'd have to sacrifice the elements for that.
No! Oh, no!
Forever?
No!
Swirl, I don't think the tree can survive without the elements. If it dies,
No!
Equestria will suffer.
If the Pony of Shadows has his way, your land will not exist. So, unless you have a better idea...
You done screwed up, Twilight.
Our foe will seek dark places from which to draw power. I will prepare my spell so that we may strike as soon as you find it.
What are we waiting for?
I like your spirit.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, it's that moment when you finally meet your
See, pony etiquette isn't gonna help
your
right
personal
now.
hero, and they're like, "You done screwed up."
Twilight? Are you okay?
I just unleashed ultimate evil and doomed Equestria because I was obsessed with meeting my idol. Why wouldn't I be okay?
Didn't know that was gonna happen.
But I should have listened to you and left things alone. Now the elements of harmony will be lost to fix my mistake.
Maybe there's another way.
Well, we do know the elements still exist.
Twilight will find it.
Portal gate, portal keys, portal spells. Yes! If the pillars can hold open the gateway to Limbo, a powerful pony can do the banishing spell herself. Do you know what this means?
Oh!
I can stop carrying books.
Even though we'll lose the elements, we'll have the ponies that created them, and the Pony of Shadows will be banished for good.
That's great. But I was thinking of another way that maybe doesn't involve banishing at all.
Star Swirl knew what he was doing when he cast that spell. If I can make it even better, maybe he'll see that I take magic as seriously as he does.
Starlight? I want to hear Starlight's plan. I really want to hear, but...
The dark places Star Swirl indicated on the map have changed.
Pony's out of time.
The Pony of Shadows would have loved the ghastly caverns before 1,000 years of erosion turned it into the ghastly gorge.
The Appaloosian wastes sure sounded dark and desolate.
Who knew they would
Oh, that bonnet is adorable.
dancing destination.
The hat.
I get how this part of Equestria used to be cast an eternal night, where the Pony of Shadows could draw power and wreak havoc while ponies were powerless to stop him. But it's gonna need a comeback. It's really bright.
How did you get up there?
It seems there are
Wow.
fewer dark corners in the realm these days.
Isn't that a good thing?
True. The Pony of Shadows will have a hard time regaining power. When he rears his head, we'll be ready.
Isn't there some way to
Those
banish
two.
him without losing all of you?
Oh, I wish there were. But to save our home, we are willing to leave it.
I don't think you'll have to. My
okay.
spell isn't finished yet, but I think we can send the Pony of Shadows to Limbo without all of you having to go as well.
While I appreciate your enthusiasm, Twilight, this is hardly the time to take risks on half-baked spells.
Ooh.
Begging your pardon, Mr. the Bearded, but Twilight doesn't do anything halfway.
Especially
That's
not
true.
magic.
Seriously, she got her wings by finishing one of your spells.
I think you'll find her work is
Yes,
worth
about
it
that.
before you dismiss it
Can we
out
get a
of
little backstory on that?
While it is an unconventional approach, I believe it could work.
I suppose there is a chance.
But we still have no idea where to find the villain.
True. Oh, yes! Yes! Cutie map! It's gonna be... Is this the last one? Huh?
The Hollow Shades. I think a branch of the Apple family lives there.
They'd have to be pretty distant. The Hollow Shades was abandoned eons ago.
That's odd. The only time the maps called all of us to one place was Starlight's village.
So it's like a supervillain tracker.
Do you think the map could be trying to tell us where the Pony of Shadows is?
Not helping, Dash.
Pony acting to protect the light of the realm. Yes, a good thought, Twilight. I will make my notes on this spell.
Senpai noticed me!
I know I'm not as experienced as all of you, but is banishment really the only option? I mean,
Yes.
It's been a long time. Maybe the Pony of Shadows is ready to talk?
I doubt we can save our homeland with a conversation.
But we could try. Starlight, I'm sure Star Swirl and the others did try.
The Pony of Shadows was not interested in reconciliation. Once a villain, always a villain. Twilight, Sunburst, would you accompany me? I wish to refine this spell for our use.
Come! We must prepare for the struggle ahead.
I know Star Swirl is a great wizard, but this whole plan seems wrong. The maps only ever sent us to solve friendship problems.
Maybe so.
Yes.
But the Pony of Shadows doesn't really seem like the friendship type.
Honestly, we don't know anything about him.
Well, no pony does.
That's not entirely true.
Nay? Who? Celestian Luna?
You all knew the Pony of Shadows before he became what he is now. You must have been friends. So
Okay,
what
just
happened?
okay.
The tale of our rift is a sad one.
Oh, yes it. Oh! The sirens! The sirens! Oh! Confirm canon!
Pony like the rest of us, though more scholar than hero. He recognized our emerging world would need champions to defend it.
Oh! Oh! Okay. Whoa!
He may
What?
have gathered us together, but he himself was just an ordinary unicorn who soon grew jealous of our abilities.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what just happened there. I'm gonna have to rewatch this.
Artifacts to use in a spell.
And we cast him out for it.
We always thought to return and seek forgiveness.
The Castle of the Two Sisters!
When we saw him again, his heart was bent on revenge. He dashed even my hope of saving him.
Oh!
But why did he steal the artifacts from you?
No doubt it was an enchantment to take our powers for himself.
Starlight's gonna figure a way around this. I
Looks
just
like
know.
a lot of work.
It is what must be done, and it would be best if we were not disturbed.
I'm sorry, Starlight, but we can't stop the talk. The stakes are too high and we have to banish Stygian to Limbo. I get it.
Who?
Stygian was the name the Pony of Shadows gave up when he turned to darkness.
Oh,
And I'm just trying to figure out why.
Envy. He wanted more power than he had, and that desire led him down a path from which there is no return.
I know from experience.
Star
that's
Swirl's
not
given
always
up too
true.
easy.
When the map called you six to my village, it was for a friendship problem. Are you sure this
Yes.
is different?
Stygian wants to destroy all that is good in this world. There's no way to befriend a pony like that.
You, sir, have not learned the magic of
Wasn't
friendship.
around when you decided to be my friend. I might have been banished to Limbo too.
Oh.
I am glad we have the chance to see what has grown from
Wow.
our efforts so long ago.
It seems a shame to harm it.
A necessary sacrifice. With the element's power, we will bind the Pony of Shadows in Limbo. And thanks to Twilight, We
I
will
want to
remain
smack this
watch
guy.
over the realm ourselves.
Well, we get to see the elements one more time at least.
How do we use them?
I'm not sure. They simply work for us.
The elements are attuned to you. We must use their magic in pairs.
No problem. We're used to banishing evil before breakfast.
And it'll be an honor to save Equestria with y'all.
Aw.
I really hope Twilight knows what she's doing.
This is gonna backfire in a big way. I mean, it's... yeah.
I don't remember reading anything that said the Hollow Shades was like this.
Wow.
Oh, the Pony of Shadows must have twisted it to his purposes.
Ooh.
Prepare yourselves. He is here. Stygian, show yourself and face us!
Whoa! That's interesting.
I definitely would have remembered reading about this.
What is this place?
Welcome to the Well of Shade. When you turned your
Okay.
backs on me, I discovered this place. The darkness spoke to me of a power beyond any I could imagine, and I listened. The shadow and I became one. Soon, all of the realm will be the same. Then all ponies will feel the despair I did when you cast me out.
We did what we had to do. You tried to steal our powers for yourself.
No, it was you who was selfish. Now,
I've got a lot of things running through my head. I can't even process this all right now.
Are you still sure this isn't a friendship problem?
Ready? Open the portal. Now!
Whoa! Oh, is it gonna work?
You will not trap me again!
Twilight, push him in!
Oh!
A pony in there!
Yes, yes, yes! Oh, I did not expect that.
Are you Stygian?
Oh.
I was, once, until my friends betrayed me.
But Star Swirl says you betrayed them. You wanted their magic.
No, I wanted their respect. I brought them together. I planned strategy and I read all I could about the beasts we faced. But I didn't have magic or strength, so no pony ever noticed me. I went to Ponehenge to make my own copies of the artifacts. With them, I thought I could be a pillar too, and stand by their side in battle. I never wanted to steal their power. But instead of sharing and letting me help, my friends threw me out. So I became stronger than any of them. The darkness welcomed me when no pony would.
This is very similar to Nightmare Moon.
This is all a misunderstanding. If the pillars knew how you felt, I'm sure they wouldn't have turned their backs on you. The shadow isn't who you really are. Let me help you be Stygian again.
Yes.
Even if my friends did still care, what makes you think you have the power to help me?
Because it's what she does. I wasn't so different from
Yes!
you, and Twilight
Starlight,
helped me
thank you!
change. If there's one pony in Equestria that can save a friendship, it's her.
I want to believe you.
But the darkness will not be stopped!
Oh! Come on, come on! Come on!
Stygian, you don't need it anymore. Revenge
Come
is
on,
what you
Twilight.
want. Friendship is.
Come on, everybody needs to help with this!
Twilight! The shadow won't let go of him. He wants to stop, but he can't do it alone.
Then
Come on.
we must help him.
Yes! Thank you! Thank you! Yes! Yes! Whoa. Oh, that was intense.
Oh, it felt so good to do that again. Friendship, power rush, wow! The elements, they didn't disappear.
And no, they've still got the elements.
Because we used them for healing magic instead of banishing?
Look!
Yes! Yes!
Long ago, you needed our help, Stygian. But instead of listening, we turned our backs on you. Pride clouded my judgment. I owe you an apology. Thank you for helping us see the errors of our ways, Twilight. It seems I never accounted for the magic of friendship.
Yes!
Swirl Star? Star Swirl?
Swirl Star? Oh, yes.
So, apparently a conversation can save Equestria?
Ooh.
Something tells me I will be making a lot of apologies today.
Come on, shoot
Celestia. Believe how tall you are.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Well, it has been over 1,000 years.
That it
Will you
has.
stay here and teach magic once again. My sister and I have such fond memories of your lessons.
As long as you don't ask for those essays we owed you before you disappeared.
I'm not certain Canterlot is where I belong. The realm has grown, and I believe I'll have a look around before I settle in any one place.
Oh.
And I long to see what has become of my home.
I believe we
It's a little
all
empty.
do.
Then I hope you will return to Canterlot on occasion and share the wisdom of your great experience with the next generation of ponies.
We would be honored, but if it is wisdom you seek,
Wow.
look no further than your own pupil. She showed me that the power of friendship is a magical force indeed. And that in turning away from others, you hurt yourself as well.
Oh! Best group hug ever!
I thought meeting my idol would give me all the answers I ever wanted, but instead, I forgot what I already knew. Good thing I had a student of my own to remind me.
Oh. Oh, wow. That's a wrap. I'm sure glad we already know there's going to be a season 8 because that could have been easily a series finale. Wow. And nothing to do with the changelings. I am surprised, but this was much, much more important to deal with. Not another word. Not another word. I'm not going to ramble. You guys stay tuned. I will be right back. Alrighty, everyone. Well, that was a fantastic finale. As always, these finales just keep getting better and better. Really, I can't say with certainty that this finale is the best one. It's better in some ways, not quite as good in some other ways. It all depends on your personal viewpoint and subjectivity and whatever. For me, the storyline of this one became rather predictable partway through. I could see where it was going, so there wasn't as much shock factor at the end like there was with the season 6 finale, where my mind was totally blown by the changeling conversion and everything. But I got the shock factor much earlier, like right in the beginning of the episodes, because of all the world building stuff that we got dumped on us right at the beginning. So. Just overall, this one did a fantastic job of world building and wrapping up a lot of hanging storylines that were present in the series and stuff. So overall, just a fantastic piece of writing from Josh Haber and Nicole Dubuque. And according to a tweet from Josh, it sounds like Joanna and Christine were a little bit involved with this as well, which is awesome. I actually got the opportunity to speak with Josh Haber about some things at Ponyville Cider Fest this last weekend out in Milwaukee. He was present as a VIP guest there. So that was a blast. I really wish I could have talked to him about the finale, but that was kind of a taboo, off-limits subject at the time because the episodes hadn't officially aired yet. That weekend was episode 24. So I did get to ask him some questions about that. It was pretty cool. But Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the finale, and I've got a ridiculous amount of notes on this, so let's get going. I'm just going to jump right into some character analysis first, and then go from there. Starting right off the bat with Star Swirl. What a jerk! I mean, not quite probably what we were expecting. Well, maybe some people expected it. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't even know if we were going to actually meet the guy or not. I thought we were only going to get like a like brief flashback thing, or like what we saw with the like the holographic, you know, past scenario playing out. I thought that's all we were maybe going to get going into this. Or that if he was going to appear, it was going to be some funky time travel thing and he'd disappear at the end. I never expected this whole limbo thing. So, but anyway, I was a little thrown off at first once he did actually appear. I was a little thrown off by his voice. I mean, let's be honest. We all wanted it to be Patrick Stewart because we wanted to have a Q Picard Star Swirl Discord style showdown thing, you know? So that's unfortunate, but really, I like his voice though. The voice actor for that did a great job with him. It was very, very good, and he's actually already been confirmed as a VIP guest at Everfree Northwest next year, and I am going to be there. So hope to see you guys there. Anyway, Star Swirl. Yeah, he's obviously kind of a jerk, but I don't think he was always that way though, or at least not all the time that way. Clearly Celestia and Luna had very fond memories of him being their teacher and such when they were young. And, you got to keep in mind, he was stuck in limbo. For him, no time had passed from the time they went into limbo to the time they came out. So for him, this had just happened. So it was obviously a very emotionally charged scenario where, the fate of Equestria was at stake, and it was a, last-ditch effort to save everyone. They were sacrificing themselves. So the emotions were running high and everything, and he couldn't really, get past that for the moment. He was just very frustrated that his spell had worked, but then had, immediately been undone. Well, for him, immediately undone by Twilight and reintroduced the evil into the world. So this is like, great, now what are we going to do? That was our last chance. Now the evil's back and we have nothing. So I can understand his frustration with that, but unfortunately, at the end of this all, he did realize the mistakes that he had made and did, do his best to apologize to everyone for it. So, as he said, he's going to have a lot of apologies to dish out. And he did come. He was pretty cool at the end there. So, like I said, I think it was just the situation that was an emotional thing with the fate of the world at stake. You got to give him a little levity because of that. So I think he can be a pretty decent guy, but it is clear that he has a few lessons to learn himself about the magic of friendship, as we all saw. So I'm very curious to see what they do with him going forward. As far as Twilight, a big episode for her, meeting her personal hero or idol. Went into super geek out mode with the possibility of even saving Star Swirl. But she got so obsessed about the chance to actually meet her hero that she just refused to consider and see the possible consequences of her actions. She just got way too overconfident, and so Sunburst was backing her on this as well. And I can't say as I blame them for their desire to do this. Maybe I would have done the same thing in their situation. It's really hard to say because I don't live in a world of magic and personal hero stuck in limbo, so I can't say, but I said I do understand at least their desire to make this happen, but again, they weren't giving enough consideration to the consequences of those actions. And to their credit too, they didn't understand fully the ramifications of what had happened. They only had this vague notes and then this quick holographic simulation showing what had happened. They didn't understand the full context and the full gravity of the situation. So but it did bother me though that Twilight even went so far as to kind of belittle the accomplishments of the main six by saying that Equestria was far better off with Star Swirl around to protect it. Like, Twilight, how many times have you guys saved the world time and time again? I mean, it's even internal jokes running in the show about how you saved Equestria like a dozen times over. It's it's really kind of almost insult to yourself and your friends. That's like, you guys have saved the world repeatedly. Why do we still need Star Swirl around just for that? I mean, you both had the same goal. It's not like he's any better at it than you necessarily. But anyway, she'd realized later that she had messed up very badly and desperately wanted to fix things. So okay, great, but she was still stuck on in hero worship mode. And, it was her hero's disappointment in her that forced her to rush to a solution that wasn't necessarily the best solution. She was, she's just far too willing to sacrifice the elements. That just really bothered me. Like, Twilight, you are the princess of friendship. This is your role. This is, the elements of harmony are part of that. Like, why are you so willing to sacrifice that just because of the situation of your getting your personal heroes approval of you or something? It's she just put too much faith in her hero's judgment and said that this in and of itself is kind of like a miniature lesson in this episode. It is far too easy for us to have our personal heroes put on too high of a pedestal, because we're all human, we're all imperfect, we all make mistakes. And, Twilight was repeatedly saying, like, he's Star Swirl, he can do anything. She thought so highly of him that she wasn't willing to see that he could be wrong about this. And as such, she also ignored her own conscience and her own lessons that she's learned as the Princess of Friendship. So, and it took Starlight to finally kind of snap her out of this. But anyways, so once she realized that Stygian was, still trapped in the Pony of Shadows, then she finally realized that she was wrong, attempted to save him. Well, that was more the trigger point. I misspoke. That was more the trigger point than it was Starlight, but I think it was just kind of a culmination of things that finally led to this. Once she jumped into this entity to speak with Stygian, Starlight joined her and, was kind of putting Twilight on a little bit of a pedestal, saying, if anyone can save somebody, it's her, as a friend and stuff. But said fortunately she did get it right at the end when it, really came down to it and mattered. So, appreciate that she learned her lesson yet again. It seems to be a recurring thing with Twilight, forgetting about the magic of friendship and just going off on crazy other things. And, good segue into Starlight here, who was clearly the voice of reason in all of this. I mean, normally we have Starlight doing all these wacky, crazy spells and having things backfire on her, and having Twilight trying to, keep her in check. A little bit of role reversal on this. Starlight really did not like the idea of the banishment one bit, and really wanted to find a better way. That she was repeatedly saying, we need to find a different way to do this, one that doesn't involve banishment. And she also did not like hearing about what happened with Stygian once the other pillars described that story. I'm sure she saw a lot of herself in Stygian, and was disappointed that they would turn their backs on their supposed friends so quickly and easily. I mean, that really hits close to home for her. And I cringed so hard when Twilight said that Star Swirl could have stopped her, from doing the time travel stuff back in the end of Season 5 if he was still around. Like, that cut deep. And that would have been a very bad thing if you really stop and think about it. Because, let's think about this. If Star Swirl had been around to stop Starlight, then Starlight... hold on here, I lost track of my notes. Well, right off the bat, it says that Starlight likely would have been banished rather than reformed. I mean, that's not a guarantee, but it's something that could have escalated to that point. I mean, had she found this evil entity instead of Stygian, something similar could have happened with her. And with Star Swirl having done something like that in the past, he might have been rather quick to rush to do that again, saying, this is the only way to solve this problem, because of the precedent. But that aside, she may not have been around to save Trixie, who practically almost committed suicide, as we saw back in No Second Prances, because she wouldn't have had that friend around to help save her. Maud may not have moved to Ponyville, less of a major thing, but still a thing. Pinkie would have been crushed over that. Thinking back, the Crystal Empire might have been lost because she wasn't there to help, repair the Crystal Heart and stuff when that all happened with Flurry Heart. And also the Changelings, assuming they got past that, the Changelings probably would have taken over all of Equestria because Starlight wouldn't have been there to lead the, Trixie and Discord and Thorax on, saving everyone by defeating the Changelings and converting the Changelings. So, I mean, Starlight has had a huge impact on this world thus far. And, this reminded me of one scene back in the Season 5 finale, the Cutie remark. And I would just like to play that for you right now. Just give this a listen.
What you're doing goes way beyond cutie marks. Everything we do here in the past, even the smallest change, can snowball into an avalanche of trouble for the future.
Oh, next I suppose you'll tell me that the fate of all of Equestria hangs in the balance.
It does!
Spare me your overblown ego. No group of friends, not even Princess Twilight's, is that important.
So, Starlight couldn't believe that, one group of friends or even one pony really could ever have such a big impact on the world. But now it's her turn to be in that boat, because without her, Equestria would have been lost, most likely. And Stygian and the Pillars also never would have had a chance to have been saved either. So, I mean, I think Starlight really now understands just how big a difference one person can really make in this world. And yeah, with Stygian, Starlight was able to empathize with him. Like I said, help to save him from the darkness. Her experiences, as her mistakes, as bad as they were, helped shape her into the person that she is today. And those experiences help her by empathizing with others in similar situations, and she is able to reach them because of that, because she's been through what they are going through, and she can understand them and help them to see that there's a better way. So bad things happen to everyone, but the bad things can have an upside because it can help us learn and grow we learn and grow from our mistakes. So, again, kind of a small lesson for us in there on that. Yeah, so she saw in Stygian, a possible future for herself, had she not been saved by Twilight. So that just incredible little, kind of story thread wrap up thing for her as well, being able to fully pass on. We kind of got that a little bit with Trixie, but just really this is like Starlight seeing what could have happened to her had she been allowed to go far enough, and she was able to help save somebody else from that path as well. And as a really cool wrap up thing right at the end of the finale as well, with Star Swirl noted that that Celestia's pupil Twilight had great wisdom, and then Twilight noted that her own student Starlight was able to remind her about the magic of friendship. And it's really cool just kind of seeing like several generations of student teacher. Star Swirl, teacher of Celestia and Luna, and then Celestia's teacher of Twilight teacher of Starlight. Just like a multi-generational gathering of students there is really cool. Stygian himself, not a whole lot to say about him because we really don't know all that much about his personality. We didn't get to see enough of him to really learn much, but he seems to be the Spike of that group of the Pillars, kind of just the sidekick tag along. Clearly there was some envy going on there. So he certainly wasn't entirely without fault of this. He did envy them, and he did steal their artifacts to try and copy them, gain his own power from them to become like one of the Pillars. So that was wrong of him, but it was also wrong of them to jump to conclusions about his true intentions and just completely turn their back on him. I mean, they basically created the evil by turning their backs on their friend. So had they not been so rash to jump to that conclusion, this problem might have never existed in the first place. I mean, it could have just shifted focus because the Pony of Shadows could have consumed another being instead of Stygian. It's really hard to say how these threads will play out, but yeah, still, fault on both sides there, basically. As far as the Pony of Shadows itself, it's interesting that, he fell into that well of darkness, and his negative emotions allowed this entity. I said it's really like the Venom symbiote from Spider-Man, allowed this entity to like basically consume him and bond with him, and gain power as a result. And we've long suspected that something similar to this happened to Luna to create Nightmare Moon. Hard to say exactly how that happened, since he was stuck in limbo, but it could have been like a remnant of that entity that was still left around Equestria. There's also that shadowy figure. This is going back to Castlemania, which a lot of this was based on. There's that shadowy figure that appeared right at the end of that episode. We've never really known who that was, or where, why, how, whatever. There's still no explanation for that in the show, but if you want to dive into the comics, I am aware of the presence of the character known as Shadowlock in a recent comic story arc. And basically that character is written in such a way as to be, I believe, a descendant of Stygian. So it's possible that, and he was actually going around trying to like erase history books, erase references to a great evil out of history books to try and prevent anyone from ever knowing about that evil and releasing it. I mean, that pretty much sounds like this Pony of Shadows. He's trying to prevent from ever coming back again. So I'm guessing that's who that was meant to be. We won't know until they give us a reference in the show, but that's what I'm going with at this point. But yeah, his form, the form of the Pony of Shadows is very intriguing. This never occurred to me while initially reacting to this episode, but it occurs to me that form looked an awful lot like the Changelings. I didn't think there was anything to do with the Changelings in this. Now I'm not so sure, because it had it was black, of course. Had, the whitish eyes, had the curved horn, which was very reminiscent of the type of horns that some of the Changelings have, and of course he had wings as well. I mean, Stygian was only a unicorn, not an alicorn, but this Pony of Shadows form had wings, and those wings, not the legs and everything, but the wings had like some notches and holes in them that looked very similar to the corrupt Changelings. So I'm wondering if this is very kind of subtle world building that's again leading up to some big epic showdown with Chrysalis, because we still don't know what happened to the Changelings in the past, what their origin is, how they went bad in the first place. Again, there could have been some remnant of this Pony of Shadows that perhaps corrupted Chrysalis in the past and led her down this dark path. So, hard to say for sure, but I'm pretty sure that we've not heard or seen the last about the Pony of Shadows. There will probably be more referencing that stuff in the next season, and especially with the Star Swirl and the Pillar still around now. I never expected them. I thought if they were going to appear, they would be gone again by the end of the episode. I never expected them to remain. So I'll talk more about that in a bit here. But yeah, that makes for some interesting possibilities of storylines going into Season 8. So we will just have to wait and see what happens. And then finally, the Sirens. Yeah, I lost my mind in that one. I did not expect that amongst all the rest of this. We have finally established full cross-franchise canon continuity. Equestria Girls is firmly in canon with Friendship's Magic. End of discussion. We now have characters that were introduced in that series visible in an actual FiM episode. So it's done. It's over. I'm sorry if that disappoints you, but I do wish we'd gotten like a full episode just on that backstory. I mean, that one brief scene with the Battle with the Sirens was just too quick. But I really do want to see the Sirens return in some capacity. I mean, like in present day, I want to find out what happened to them after the events of Rainbow Rocks. And maybe some redemption for him, maybe, possibly, perhaps, don't know. But maybe we'll see them in some of these EG specials that are coming up, like the short series that's going to be starting here next month. I'm also thinking, well, now it's possible that Sunset Shimmer could potentially have a role in Equestria at some point, just as a cameo character. I'm thinking it would be cool if there could be an episode in FiM specifically regarding the Sirens, because now that Star Swirl is back, You know, that would make for a very interesting return thing too. Have Sunset bring the sirens back, and you know they would have to answer to Star Swirl, and she would have to answer to Celestia and whatever. I'm not sure what that would look like. I'm just saying there's definite possibilities with that now. So will we ever see that? Maybe not. But it's fun to at least think about. And if nothing else, great fanfic territory. All right, character analysis done. Wow, I've taken a lot of time already, but I am not going anywhere until I get through this. The pillars. Pillars of hope, strength, bravery, beauty, healing, and sorcery. And directly linked to the elements of harmony, namely laughter, honesty, loyalty, generosity, kindness, and magic. It is funny just looking at the matchups. I mean, most of them really make a lot of sense, but I find it interesting, and I think not at all coincidental that Pinkie, an Earth Pony, was matched up with a Pegasus, and Fluttershy, a Pegasus, matched up with an Earth Pony, because, as most of you probably know, the original characters that Lauren Faust designed had Pinkie actually as a surprise, a Pegasus, and Fluttershy was supposed to be an Earth Pony, and they ended up getting kind of flipped around in their races, so before the show started. So I think that's kind of just a little poke at the origins of those characters there. But yeah, the pillars, these original pillars of I don't know if you want to call what you want to call them, elements of hope or elements. I'm just going to call them pillars to avoid any confusion on this. They're the kind of the pillars of society. They saw a need in the future for protection of Equestria against evil, and created this seed. They infused their magic into this crystal seed, and planted it, hoping that there would be, that it'd come in handy in the future in case at some point or another they were never around. It's unclear when exactly they created and planted that seed, whether it was just right before they attempted the showdown with the Pony of Shadows, or if it was a while before. It's unclear. I think it was probably a while before, since they, had the depictions in Star Swirl's journal and such. But anyway, basically what was implied by this, it wasn't exactly said, but it was implied that the Tree of Harmony came from that seed and bore the elements. And the time frame of this, this was already during Celestia and Luna's rule, we know, because we saw the Castle of the Two Sisters was already there. That's when they had the showdown with Stygian in that flashback scene, and also it makes sense that the elements didn't actually exist. The elements of harmony didn't exist yet, therefore they didn't have that option for dealing with the Pony of Shadows, which is why they had to use Pwnhinge instead. Ugh, that pun. But this also means that this happened before the events of Discord and Nightmare Moon, because that was when Celestia and Luna were using the elements of harmony against them. So Star Swirl was already long gone at that point in time. So it's actually not even clear whether Star Swirl and Discord ever even met or not. It looks like they probably didn't. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out going forward. But here's the thing. The Pillars magic, there's some canon continuity issues here that I'm having a problem with. The Pillars magic did not embody the tenets of friendship. I mean, they said that the elements were a reflection of their original elements, but clearly Star Swirl didn't fully get it, and they didn't either, because they were so willing to turn their back on their friend right away. So I'm just having a hard time understanding, why would these new elements of harmony that were born from their magic be able to suddenly, enforce the tenets of friendship? How would why would you have the Cutie map calling them to complete friendship lessons? And it said there seems to be an intelligence at work here. So where did the intelligence come from to call them for that in the first place? And that intelligence also was present in the season 5 finale, with the map, kind of guiding them through these different timelines, and also it got rid of that time travel scroll at the end once they'd put everything back to the way it was supposed to be. And there's also the fact that the Cutie marks were prophesied on there. The Sun, Moon, and Star Cutie marks for Celestia, Luna, and Twilight were on that tree. So, okay, clearly there's some sort of intelligence at work here beyond just a magic spell. And I believe that force to be, that intelligence is harmony. I don't know all the details for sure, but we do know that in Lauren Faust's original lore for the series, there was an entity known as Harmony, from whom the elements of harmony supposedly came from. And it was believed that the Tree of Harmony was basically her resting place, like where she was laid to rest after she died or some such thing. Also, we have kind of a problem with the Journal of the Two Sisters. That journal, it's a printed book, but as far as I'm concerned, is proper show canon. Because, again, going back to Castlemania, that journal was directly referenced by title and had passages directly quoted from it in the show. So I take that book as canon. I have it right here. I take that book as canon. And according to that, well, in fact, I'm just going to read this passage from here. You can see the problem that we're going to have. This is an entry from Celestia. It's page 19. So this was very shortly after they began their rule of Equestria. It said, Luna and I were talking with Star Swirl about that tree in the ravine at the edge of the Everfree Forest, and he told us that it's not any ordinary tree. It is the Tree of Harmony. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I totally flipped. I mean, I literally flipped in the air. Luna snorted at me and rolled her eyes because I'm such a dork, but to me it was like meeting the most famous tree in the world. That's because it's actually the most famous tree in the world. I've read about the Tree of Harmony in books, but I didn't know that it actually existed. According to the legends, the Tree of Harmony is incredibly powerful and is said to hold the elements of all that is good and true. It's such a fascinating tree, and I'm so drawn to it. On it are 3 markings, a sun, a moon, and a star. I've asked Star Swirl what these stand for, but he seems to have no idea. I don't know why, but I feel like the sun image is calling to me. Is that weird? Luna and I are both so drawn to the Tree of Harmony that we decided to build the Castle of the Two Sisters above the ravine. Star Swirl agreed, saying that having our castle built near the Tree of Harmony would give us strength and help us protect Equestria. Okay, so assuming this to still be proper canon, that means that Tree of Harmony was already a known thing. That means it did not come from that seed that they planted, which seems to be contrary to what we were given in this episode. But, sorry, I'm just trying to get my notes in order here. So that does create a problem. Well, I said, also, there was the Season 4 flashback where Celestia was, Celestia and Luna had found the Tree of Harmony with the elements to use against Discord. And Celestia said that, that Luna was saying, are you sure it's okay for us to do this, to take the elements? And Celestia said that even without the elements, the tree will still possess a powerful magic. And as long as that magic remains, it will continue to control and contain all that grows there. Now, I'm assuming that is referring to the Everfree Forest itself. It's kind of a mystical, magical place. It's got its own weather that's separate from the Pegasus weather control and all this magic going around. I'm of the opinion that this definitely is the resting place of Harmony, and that Harmony's consciousness is still around and is basically, keeping things in check and whatnot. And that being the case, I think what probably happened is the Pillars thought that would be a good safe place to plant their seed. And, maybe they were unaware of the actual consciousness that was there. They didn't fully know what all the tree was about. But I'm thinking what happened is that Harmony's consciousness combined with the Pillars' magic. They probably planted that seed like right at the base of that tree. And her consciousness combined with that, and the magics merged together, and that allowed Harmony to create the actual elements of Harmony, as well as the chest, the castle, and the map. I know it seems a lot to take in, and I'm sure not everybody will agree with me on that, but that's, in my mind, how I'm putting these two different sets of events together. Now, I would also like to note that in this episode, in this finale, Star Swirl never said that the Tree of Harmony came from that seed. He showed the Tree of Harmony, but said that the chest and the map and the very castle, Twilight's castle, came from that seed. So that they didn't come right out and say that the tree itself was born from that seed. I know it was heavily implied, but it does leave that option open to say that there could have been a merging of those two things. So, that established, I'm gonna move on here. Twilight said that to banish the Pony of Shadows, a lot of power would be needed, and that the elements, if they used the elements for it, they would be lost forever. That confused me because I'm not sure exactly when the elements were assigned a known power level that could be exceeded. I mean, it's always just been a thing that they've just magically worked before, so I'm a little confused in where that knowledge came from. Maybe she's done more research in the meantime, hard to say. But, as you said, that the elements would be lost. Well, when did the elements last disappear? Before present day, they were used by Celestia to banish Nightmare Moon. And we saw that we don't know exactly when this happened, if this happened immediately after she banished Luna or what, but the next time we saw the elements was back in the series premiere, where they were these stone orbs in the ruins of the Castle of the Two Sisters. And they reactivated when the main six's friendship traits were realized and came together. And they did not... now, granted, they did not disappear after they freed Luna from Nightmare Moon. So, that being the case, I'm starting to see a similarity here. We saw... we heard Fluttershy say at the end of this finale... It's like, hey, the elements didn't disappear. Well, maybe that's because we use them to heal rather than to banish. So I'm thinking that banishment is actually an improper use of the elements, not true harmony. And if they're misused in that fashion to banish someone that should be saved, perhaps the elements deactivate to prevent further abuse. Kind of a stretch, but that's kind of what my mind is going with right now. So yeah, in this... in both of these cases, they used them to heal. They healed Luna, saved her from that darkness, and now they used it similarly to save Stygian. So they kept him. And now, granted, there is still the issues of Discord and T-Rec. It's like, well, why weren't they... both of them were sort of banished. Discord was sealed in stone. T-Rec was put back in prison, yada yada. I know it gets a little... it goes into technicalities here. I would say that just my mind trying to rationalize this is that... For Discord, Harmony may have known... I mean, he was more or less like an evil being, but Harmony may have seen that he could be saved, but that it required the true bearers of the elements to come along that weren't there yet. And, well, specifically Fluttershy, but, Fluttershy in the main six. So perhaps she just, allowed him to be sealed away until such time as he could be reformed. As far as T-Rec... before I get that, we know that Harmony herself can actually see across timelines. She seems to have that connection to the world to be able to do that because, she did that in Season 5 with the various timelines, having the map staying connected throughout all of that, and also just the presence of the prophesied Cutie marks on the tree itself. That was foreshadowing of things to come in, over 1,000 years in the future. So there is that. So she could have seen that, let's just give Discord a timeout because there's others coming that are going to be able to save him. Something like that. T-Rec, he wasn't really so much banished as he was just thrown back in jail. And, basically the rainbow powers were used to take back the magic that he had stolen, not really to harm him. And, he could have just been deemed a truly evil being for which there was no saving, like there was with Discord. So maybe that was a more proper use of that or something. It's semantics. It's all guesswork at this point. This is just what's going through my mind. I'm sharing, my thoughts on how this can all work. Speaking of the rainbow powers, that is a excellent segue into the chest of Harmony. That is a very interesting factor into all of this. Because, again, I noted that there's a lot of similarities to the way they were gathering these artifacts from the pillars as to how they were, gathering the key items unknowingly throughout the course of Season 4 to unlock that chest. And it's interesting that the chest was revealed after they returned the elements to the Tree of Harmony to save the tree from those plunder seeds. And so, they worked to gain these items, and then once they got all the items, they turned into keys, unlocked the chests, were able to access the rainbow powers, overpower T-Rex, etc., etc. Then the chest created Twilight's castle and the Cutie map. All right. Given that at the time, the main six were not bearing the elements anymore, where did the rainbow powers actually come from? I mean, obviously the Tree of Harmony zapped them with power, but they weren't wearing the elements. The tree still possessed the elements themselves. And this was almost like a uber powered up version of the elements. So I always wondered, where did that magic come from? Well, we now know that that chest came from that seed that was infused with the magic from these pillars. So did the main six actually unlock and access the full magic of the pillars? Were they not at full power before? And that's perhaps because they showed the traits from both their element and the element that it was a reflection of from the pillars. Looking back through the episodes here, admittedly some of this is a stretch, because obviously this story thread wasn't written when season 4 was being written. But looking back, you can kind of see some similarities, some tie-ins to this. With Rarity, she showed her inner beauty by generously sacrificing her own time for the sake of her friends. Rainbow Dash bravely risked her own future with the Wonderbolts to stand firm in loyal support of her friends on the team from Ponyville in Rainbow Falls. Pinkie Pie, back in it was Pinkie Pride, realized she couldn't give up on bringing hope to others through the gift of laughter. For Fluttershy, this is more of a stretch, but her pillar is healing. Well, the act of healing doesn't necessarily just apply in the medical sense. Fluttershy realized that she was harming the Breezies by allowing them to stay in her cottage rather than going home. So she provided healing in the form of tough love, which itself is a form of kindness by forcing them to return home where they belonged. Applejack gathered the strength to stand in front of everyone and admit that she had been dishonest with them. And it takes a lot of courage to own up to your mistakes and apologize for them. So that, it's inner strength. And finally with Twilight Sparkle, sorcery. Sorcery is defined as, the act of exercising magical powers. Well, Twilight first sacrificed all of her magic to save her friends, and all the princesses' magic too, but in doing so, fully realized the potential of the highest form of magic, the magic of friendship. So you could argue that by completing all these trials, they proved to the Tree of Harmony that they were the true bearers of the elements, including the pillars upon which they were based. This allowed the tree to create the castle and the Cutie map and send them on missions of friendship to those in need around Equestria. Now, there's no way, there's just no way that all these events could have been foreseen by the pillars, and by their own admission, they were surprised at what became of their magic. They didn't know it would turn into the elements of harmony and all this other stuff. So, I'm saying that for all of this to happen, there had to be an intelligence involved to take their magic to a level that they could not have possibly imagined. So I stand firm on my belief that there is another being that fused with their magic, namely harmony, to help guide all of this. So I'm sure there will be plenty of theories and talking amongst yourselves, probably some arguing. Please keep it civil. At the very least, this is a gold mine of fanfic territory, source material. So, have fun with that. But that's currently where I'm standing with all of this. And I really think it does make sense. So now I'm going to get into, I just need to take a few minutes to go into absolute tinfoil hat territory. This is complete conspiracy theory territory here. Okay. I actually got to grab some pictures to show you here for this. Okay. The seventh element. Yes, I'm going there. Seventh element of harmony, long theorized about. Still not proven, not seen. Well, proven sort of in the Equestria Girls side, but that's kind of another thing, not going there. In Season 1, in the Castle of the Two Sisters, when they first found those stone orbs, there were 6 of them on the pedestals. There were 6 stone orbs on the pedestals, besides the center one that we saw the star come out, the magic element come out of when Celestia used them back in that flashback. We saw 6, and then all of a sudden they only found 5 of them. Now, granted, I'm sure that was an animation error, but in addition to that, there was, right in the beginning of the series premiere, there was the storybook telling of, you know, what happened with Celestia and Luna and Nightmare Moon and all of that, and there was a picture shown of the elements in gem form. I'm going to show you that here. This right here is in that storybook scene. Now, note the colors of the gems. There are 6 gems, not 7, granted, but note the colors of them. We have the, you know, pink, purple, orange, red, blue, and green. Take note of that green one. And so there's no magenta one. Twilight's star cutie mark is more of a magenta color. Now, in the season 4 flashback, we saw with Celestia, the elements were in this original gem form. And let's see, I have that right here. So we see the gems. We see the purple, red. So actually, let me zoom in on this here. So yeah, purple, orange, red, pink, blue, and that's all we can see. And I checked every frame that's seen it. We didn't see the green one anywhere. Let's see, now in okay, so that being the case, okay, the storybook thing was just an oops. You know, that green one was just, you know, animation error, blah blah blah, whatever. They weren't thinking about it too hard. Just something to forget about, because we never saw it again. Until the Season 7 finale. Then all of a sudden, we see this. And what do we have right in the center? We have a visual representation of the Tree of Harmony. And what do we have? Red, blue, purple, pink, orange, green, and a magenta gem that is different than the rest. Presumably the element of magic. So, we cannot ignore that green gem anymore. What happened to that? You know, it's easy enough to dismiss from Season 1, but for that to appear again here in Season 7, that something has to be going on with that. Okay. So, yes, and both accounts of these green gems are from a long time ago. I mean, this is Star Swirl's account from over 1,000 years ago. The storybook thing from, you know, that Twilight was reading was from ages ago. So there's been no sighting or mention of that green gem in recent history. Now there is, I think I forgot to grab that one screenshot here. I can grab that very quickly. There is. Bear with me for just a moment. There we go. I want to point out a couple other things to consider. One is in Magical Mystery Cure, end of Season 3, when Twilight, after Twilight had transformed or was in the process of transforming into an alicorn, and her cutie mark was filling the sky and floating back down into Ponyville, we saw this. Count the white stars around there. There is 6 white stars around that. Not the 5 that is actually in her cutie mark. Now, again, could easily dismiss this as an animation error, which is probably what it was. But I told you, I'm in full conspiracy mode here, so let's consider that. And then, I'd also like to note, this appeared right before, this is end of Season 3, this is right before EG1, the first Equestria Girls movie, where we meet Sunset Shimmer, who is now like the 7th element of harmony in the human world. So I found that to be interesting. And again, you could dismiss that, but now here we are, 4 seasons later, and I noticed something in the throne room in the castle when all of them were present and going over details of things. Let's see, is it this one here? Oh, here it is. Take a peek at Twilight's cutie mark on her throne. Let me zoom this in a little bit here for you. Again, 6 white stars. I'm having a hard time understanding why this would be an animation error. Now, granted, I went back through and scoured this episode. This appeared in several shots of that one scene where I first noticed it. There was a shot in a later scene in the finale where it was back to just the 5 white stars. So, again, probably just an animation error. But I'm still scratching my head because why would they even have a vector of this cutie mark with the 6 white stars on it 4 seasons later when they've never used that anywhere else? Again, it's just kind of making me go, So, I mean, say what you want. The 6th white star could represent Spike, could represent Starlight, who was nearby. Hard to say where all that's going. But in terms of where this went, I mean, even just putting all of that aside, we clearly have seen this green gem a couple times, but then it disappeared. Where did it go? Again, going back to Harmony being the consciousness that's driving all of this, in my own headcanon here. I'm of the opinion that Harmony herself absorbed the 7th gem. She is the 7th element and has always been the bearer of that element. It's always been present. It just has not been visible because she's basically channeling that power alongside the main 6 behind them. We just haven't seen it. So, I know I want so bad to make a Green Ranger joke here because it's the green, it's the green gem, Power Ranger stuff. But yeah, and I said I believe that element is, or that would be like a pillar element potentially, and that is like redemption or forgiveness, like we've talked about, and the modern day element of Harmony that's based off that, reflected off that Sunset uses is empathy, because having the trait of redemption or forgiveness, having those experiences like we saw with Starlight here allows one to empathize with others who are going through similar situations. So it definitely makes sense. And, again, we see that that there are 7 element gems or geodes or whatever in the human world that are based off those elements of Harmony. Well, where did that 7th one come from? Now, granted, the colors are a problem. The colors of the geodes don't perfectly match up with the colors of these gems here in Equestria. But what I think has happened is that Harmony has sensed that because of the presence of the magical forces from Equestria in the human world, they needed the elements to be able to deal with the evil forces that are going to come there. And as such, being that there are 7 elements, if there was always 7 elements, they would need a 7th one to be at full power. Well, Harmony isn't in the human world. She is only in Equestria. So she probably, by creating these extensions of the elements, she had to make a 7th one for them to be at full power, which is what Sunset got. And could potentially be what Starlight ends up with here in Equestria. I do have to say that I would not have been at all surprised if Starlight had ended up with either wings or an official element at the end of this finale. Let's face it, Starlight has done more to earn the bearing of an element than any of the other main 6. I mean, they just kind of showed up and did their thing and got the elements. Starlight has worked hard for it. Well, so has Sunset, honestly. But I mean, she's been through a lot. And I'm glad she didn't end up being an alicorn. She doesn't need to be an alicorn, and the group is very evenly balanced as it is with her the way she is as a unicorn. So I don't have a problem with that. But again, this is complete conspiracy theory territory here. We may never see a 7th element of Harmony. This may just be ongoing, continuing oopses in the animation and storyboarding and whatever else. But just there's been so many of these things that are adding up together. It's like these may have all been mistakes, but the mistakes have actually been coincidentally lined up enough to where I think that maybe they could actually do something with this. It'd be interesting. It'd be really interesting to see if they actually do take a lot of the mistakes that were made and make something good out of them, make them actually canon. That would be cool if they did that. But anyway, it's wacky, wild theories. Make of it what you will. Talk amongst yourselves. It's just fun things to consider. And again, if nothing else, great fanfic material. As for the pillars themselves, the ponies, not the elements. As I was repeating before, there were ponies out of time. I mean, how are they going to be able to adapt to modern society? This is, they all wanted to take a look around Equestria and see what became of their homes. Makes a lot of sense, but I mean, their homes are essentially gone, at least as they knew them. I mean, I especially feel bad for Meadowbrook because their entire village is completely deserted aside from Cattail, and so on. But it said that their homes are gone, and everyone they ever knew basically is dead and gone as well. I mean, Celestia and Luna said that they never knew the other pillars, only Star Swirl, so that they must have been too young at the time, didn't have that interaction. So really, the pillars, the only pony around that they know is each other and Star Swirl. There's nobody left. I mean, that's a harsh thing to come into for that. I mean, we kind of went into this territory with the Remembrance fan animation from Argo Daemon. That video, go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic, incredibly emotional. But with one of the theories about what happened at the end of that is, one of the possible interpretations is that Twilight resurrected her friend. She sacrificed her alicorn immortality to bring back, which is questionable whether she is actually immortal or not. But beside the point, assuming she was immortal, she sacrificed that immortality to resurrect her friends for like one last lifetime together, essentially. But like that would be kind of horrible for her friends because they could all be friends together, but like everyone, the rest of them ever knew, like their families and everything are gone, and that's even more heartbreaking now. I mean, with the Apples, well, it was already heartbreaking like with Applejack. I mean, Granny Smith, Big Mac, Apple Bloom, all of them would be gone, and now that we've met all the rest of their parents and stuff, they would all be gone. I mean, that would be an incredibly hard thing for them to endure, even though they had each other. And that's essentially what's now playing out with the pillars. And that I've heard stories about how people that have been, in the real world, that have been imprisoned for long periods of time. I mean, there's people that are in jail for like 30, 40 years for some heinous crime. And then they are finally released decades later, and they come out to a world that is completely unrecognizable. I mean, if you stop and think about like how far technology has come in just the past couple decades, computers, the internet, smartphones, even, vehicles, all this technology. I mean, for them to be wrapped up in prison, if they've been kind of shielded from that stuff, they come back out and it's like they have to figure out how to even exist in a society that has just completely left them behind. It's a very harsh reality to wake up to. And this isn't just some 30, 40 years. This is over 1,000 years later that they are now coming back into a new society. So I can't even begin to imagine what kind of an effect that would have on their mental state. I mean, that's a hard thing to do. And I wondered, okay, what would be like an out for this? Like, are they going to be able to handle this, or would they try to? Well, Star Swirl is versed in time travel spells. I wondered, would he potentially, send them all back in time, back to their own time? And I suppose that is a possibility, but that would be a horrible, horrible idea. Because, remember, that would alter things in a way they couldn't possibly predict. That would basically be the same as if they never got stuck in limbo. So, there's no way of knowing what kind of effect that could have on all the events that have transpired throughout the course of this show. A lot of it may never have come to pass. So, that things happen. Like I said before, things happen the way they happen for a reason. And that shouldn't be messed with, because like we saw with Starlight in the end of Season 5, if you go back and try to mess with things, even if you think you're doing it for the right reasons and will be for the betterment of everyone, you can't possibly predict what the ripple effect, the butterfly effect, will be from that. And you may make things a whole lot worse. So, that's not going to be a way out of this. I think Star Swirl and the party will be around. So we'll likely see them in seasons of Episode 8. I really hope we do, because it's going to be interesting just seeing how they're adapting into society, what kind of places they find to fit in, and just thinking some of the possibilities, like Meadowbrook. I'd love to see Meadowbrook and Zecora do some cool stuff together. Maybe with Fluttershy too. That could be a very interesting combination. Yes, I know we all want to see what happens with Flash Magnus and Rainbow Dash. Oh my word. I can hear the shippers already on that one. That's gonna. What is he gonna think of the Thunderbolts, the Wonderbolts? That's gonna be interesting, and so on and so forth. I'm not gonna ramble through all the possibilities here, but I do have to say I wonder what I want desperately to see when Apple Bloom meets Rockhoof, because the way she was going on during that telling of that story back in Campfire Tales. I want to see her go nuclear when he shows up on the farm. That's going to be awesome. And for that matter, in terms of hero worship, I mean, man, I can't wait to see Star Swirl's reaction when he shows up at one of his the Star Swirl conventions that we've seen. Talk about your all-time guest of honor. I mean, wow. Furthermore, what would him and Discord... I can't wait to... Even if it's not Patrick Stewart, I want to see Star Swirl meet Discord, because that is going to be one heck of a story. Oh, and by the way, we can firmly put to rest any and all fan canon theories about Star Swirl, or Discord being Star Swirl, because Star Swirl was locked away in Limbo before Discord ever even appeared, so yeah, forget about that. It never really made sense to me anyway, but there it is. Still would love to see those two's interactions, though. And yeah, even just Star Swirl seeing like I wonder if he would visit Twilight's castle and come across her Nightmare Knight's costume, Star Swirl costume. That could be embarrassing for Twilight. But anyway, it is coming up on an hour here, and I really have to wrap this up. Just one last little thing. Just a little detail I got to call out. One of the books that Twilight was going through in her library was Sea Pony Etiquette. Boy, that's coincidentally timed, because the movie chronologically is supposed to take place between season 7 and 8. Well, we've already seen the movie, but having that come out after this, like, it's kind of an interesting, if you were watching this in order, it'd be an interesting little bit of foreshadowing. But they never actually said sea ponies in the movie. They never once, that I can recall, said sea ponies. It was always hippogriffs. And technically they were hippocamps in that form and had to transform back into hippogriffs when they came up onto land. So is there actually sea ponies, like an actual race of ponies that have a sea pony form that are different from the hippocamps? I don't know. But just the title alone, Sea Pony Etiquette, there's got to be a story behind that somewhere. I really hope that's foreshadowing of something to come up in Season 8 here. Especially having heard that there's going to be Season 8 tie-ins to the movie, allegedly. So I just really hope that we get some interesting things happening along those lines there. But anyway, this has been a fantastic finale to go through and analyze. There's lots of tinfoil hat stuff going on here. It's crazy, but I think it's all working out, and I can't wait to see what they do with all of this going forward. They just dumped a metric ton of new world building stuff into this world for us, and Josh Haber, talking to him at Cider Fest, he said that he dropped a few hints about what some things in season 8, nothing specific, but he did say that that season 8 is going to kind of take some new turns on, so they're going to try some new things, go some new directions that they haven't gone before. But he thinks that it's still going to be really cool and we're going to love it. So I have no idea what to make of that. I just know that this show just keeps getting better and better, and if they're trying new things, they've tried new things and it's been great. So if they're going to even newer levels of stuff, I can't wait to see what they come up with for us. So very much look forward to that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everyone. It's been a fantastic season. Thanks so much for riding along with me, and I look forward to seeing you again in future reactions here. So for now, have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you soon.